your Discourse Syndicate. I am the captain, RG3, bringing you another episode of Chatting with the Captain. Hey guys, how's it going? I hope you all enjoyed Richard. You could blame Gary for the early cutoff, but anyway, we asked Richard. We said, "Hey, we've got a really important guest coming on. Are you going to stream today?" He said, "Yeah, I was planning on it." So he cut it off early. We miscommunicated. We thought 6:30 we were going to start, but we were going to prep because Gary's coming in here and he likes to make things real and solid versus how we do things around here, which is turn it on and let's go, right? So anyway, I appreciate him, and for all of you who don't know him, Gary is a cutthroat. He is also known as Funding Jim. He has his own YouTube channel. He is well connected within the financial, entrepreneurial, what would you call it, motivational speaking field, realm, space. He's the man. He's got a lot of good context, and that's who we're talking with tonight. We're actually talking with somebody who is directly connected with Robert Kiyosaki, writer of Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I believe she is actually his personal physician. I think we'll have to verify and qualify that with her. But if that is the case, that is very, very cool. And who knows where that's going to lead to. Maybe one day we'll get Robert himself in here to talk to us about finance. But today we're going to be speaking with a doctor who has all kinds of letters behind her name. And we're going to get into some health stuff. You know, we talk about that often here because there is nothing more important than your health. And that's the one thing you cannot 100% buy with money. You've got to take an active position in your health, and we're going to talk about that tonight. So without further ado, I'm going to bring up Gary because he knows more about her than I do. Funding Jim, Gary, what's happening, my brother?
What's up, guys? Good to see you all tonight. I'm very excited to be here just as a momentary presenter of Nicole Srednicki. And she is a great friend. She's a lovely person, but I like that she's in the preventative medicine field. Many people know that I was in cardiology for a long time. Decades of my life was spent on intervention or recovery from heart disease. You know, if someone needs an angiogram or a stent or something along those lines, that was my world, the diagnostic world as far as that goes in medicine. But she really has focused a lot of her career on regenerative medicine, anti-aging, all of these types of topics that would prevent seeing someone as an interventionalist. So I really am happy that she's here tonight to share her knowledge base and, help Hexicans in general live a longer, more fruitful life. So just want to make that presentation. I enjoyed several days with her recently at racing schools and things like that with George Gammon and Ken McElroy. So just a great person, and I'm glad that she's here to share.
Right on, everybody. Well, this is Dr. Nicole Srednicki. How you doing, Nicole? Can we call you Nicole, or do I have to say doctor because I don't want to be disrespectful? Is it doctor?
No, call me Nicole. That's totally fine. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Thanks for coming. We appreciate you. But you can still call me the captain. I still appreciate that.
Okay.
So with that, I'm going to bow out. Just want to have you guys have your own conversation about any topic whatsoever. But again, thanks for joining us tonight, Nicole. Thanks, RG, for hosting.
Thanks, Gary.
Thanks, Gary.
See you, buddy. Oh, now it's just us and the Hexicans, Nicole. How are you doing this evening?
Great, thank you.
Is there a little bit of a lag?
Very nice.
Having a heart.
Sorry. Yes.
Is there a little bit of a lag?
Nice. I think we're okay.
Okay.
So thank you so much for having me on the show today. I'm really excited to be here.
Well, we're excited to have you because so this just to let you know a little bit about us before we get into it and just start asking you questions. We are a crypto community here, but we've been a very well-rounded crypto community because I'm an old guy and I think that, human beings need to be well-rounded, especially when they've got money. And so I've always spoken to the community about things like health, on top of, wealth and how to be responsible with it and those kinds of things. So being responsible for your health has been one of the things that we've discussed here over and over again. Because, and you and I talked about it in the green room a moment ago. One of the things that really resonated with me as a younger man, as an entrepreneur, when I was trying to, I was a millwright by trade. I worked a regular job. I was a blue collar guy, but on the side, I was always trying to do different, be different, get out of that working mentality, get on the other side of the quadrant, as as Robert would say, and get into becoming an entrepreneur. And so while I was doing that, some of the books that I read, one of the studies that I saw that somebody had done really resonated with me. It said, I interviewed all these very, very wealthy men, and they were all at the end stages of their lives, and they were all in their 70s and 80s. And I asked them, what would they change if they were to change one thing in their life? What would that be? And they all said that they would have taken better care of their health when they were younger than they did, because they were all facing problems, issues, medications that they were on, everything from dialysis and all this other stuff that they were having to deal with at an older age. When they had money and it was time to relax, they were, having to pay the price. So that resonated with me. So I've always been an advocate of health. I've always, tried to take care of myself. COVID has taken some of that from me, but, so here we are today, and I'm so glad that we have you on the show, because you're somebody who knows a lot more than all of us. So maybe we can dig into some stuff and talk about longevity and whatnot.
Definitely. So you touched on exactly why I started my practice. Back when I was in school, I was so excited to become a doctor and take health to the next level. But when I was in school, I quickly realized that we were learning how to only treat disease. And within that, it was like write prescriptions, and get people in and out as fast as possible and do whatever insurance says. And I was like, I'm not spending all my time in school for this. Like, I want to teach people how to actually be healthy. So when I got out of school, I did a fellowship in anti-aging and regenerative medicine. And then I did another fellowship in natural medicine, so that I could bring both sides of medicine to the table. So I could have a lot of natural, but then conventional when I need it for things like COVID. If COVID hits you, we need a lot of Western medicines to help us through it. Also natural medicine. But that was why I started my practice. And I've had my practice now for almost 7 years.
7 years.
Yes.
And go ahead.
Sorry. So my specialty is I specialize in high performance health for high performance people. So I work with, entrepreneurs, like a lot of your viewers, athletes, celebrities, and professionals who value their health. They realize how important it is, how, why we actually need to invest in our health now rather than waiting till we already have disease.
So explain this. So you've got your degrees, you've got your pedigree, you've gotten into Western medicine, and then you said, well, I want to learn more about natural and homeopathic type remedies and things like that. So then you kind of mix the two, and now your practice is treating the whole person. Is that kind of what I'm getting at?
Yeah, I do work on treating the whole person, treating the foundation, but also like I like to bring in the, cutting edge anti-aging medicine, which, medicine, it's like this world is just growing so much. And so I like to bring a lot of those new aspects into my practice, as long as it's science-based. I always tell people, if I'm not going to do it on myself or my family, then I'm not bringing it in here. But so I like to bring in a big mix. And then as I evaluate a patient, we figure out where to start. If their blood pressure is out of control, I'm not going to say, I'm going to, sprinkle some dust on you and now you're fine. No, I'm going to start you on a blood pressure med, but we're going to do all these other things to get you off of that med. But in a lot of my patients, they come to me relatively healthy. And so then we can just start building from the foundation up to make them an ultra healthy human.
Yeah, it's easier to work with somebody when they're already somewhat healthy, right?
Absolutely, or catching things early on. So when I first see the patient, I do rather extensive testing and blood work to get what I call like your internal body mapping. And this goes really in depth into, you know, how inflamed are your tissues, your cells, what are all of these hormone cascades? Do you have heavy metals in your body? We look at vitamin levels. And then of course, basics, you know, do you have diabetes? Do you have liver issues? Do you have prostate issues? And then from that, this is what I call your internal body mapping. So now we can look at how old are you internally versus externally, and then go from there.
So let's talk about that a little bit. So you run blood tests on people, and you start to look at what's going on with their blood levels as far as what inflammation in different organs may be, or do you actually run some type of body scan on organs and things, or how do you find this out? I mean, is it all just through blood work, or do you do other scanning?
We start with a lot of blood work, also in-depth conversation with the patient about their lifestyle. You know, what's their line of work? What do they do for fun? All these different types of things will weigh in. What's their stress level? That's huge. And then when we look at all these different blood tests and kind of put the whole picture together, we can start to see subtle abnormalities that you would never get by, you know, just going to your annual physical. Your annual physical is looking for disease that's already there. So you're already way down the road. We want to catch it like early on, you know, subtle. And then it's so much easier to reverse that.
Okay. So for instance, a guy that's my age in his 50s, right? How would you start scanning somebody like me for issues? Like, I mean, I don't know if I feel fine, but I've known a lot of guys like me, my age, that feel fine, that killed over of a heart attack instantly. You know, how do you map that? How do you go in and map something like that for somebody?
So that's a great question. So again, looking at starting with the the deepest layers of blood work, how much stress do you have in your life? Do you have environmental stressors? Do you have emotional stressors? So there's like different types of stressors, and that weighs in a lot on these. But it's what you say about, you know, how do I know if I'm going to have like a heart attack tomorrow? Well, we start with blood work, then we start determining risk factors. Then I might bring in, you know, we need to do a certain kind of imaging. I want to look at the vessels in your neck and in your heart to see, you know, do you have good blood flow? How much calcium buildup do you have? But doing that emotional element of interviewing is so important, because stress that can cause a heart attack alone. And that's why, you know, sometimes I ask people, you know, when you say, well, I don't have any symptoms, is that how you're determining you're healthy? Just by not having symptoms, right? So we actually need to know what's going on in there.
Yeah. And that's like every guy my age is that's the same thing. They're like, no, I don't have any symptoms. I'm fine. I don't need to go to the doctor. And then, you know, a month later they fall over to heart. Literally, I lost, you know, a father and my best friend within the last year to, you know, heart attack. We didn't see coming. You know, my dad was very healthy. He was a runner. He was very thin. He wasn't overweight. It was like, okay, he's fine. You know, dad's fine. He should be all right. Woke up one morning and his heart stopped. That was it, you know, and massive heart attack. And we didn't even know. How were we supposed to tell? And same thing, a good friend of mine now, my buddy, he was out of shape, overweight, but he was only 54 and, you know, killed over dead of a heart attack, you know, and, I see, you know, Richard talks about one of the founder of the cryptocurrency that we promote here. He's always talking about, you know, heart disease and cancer. These are the things that are going to get you. And even if you cure these things, they're not going to really expand your life that much. It's going to be other things that are going to, you know, expand the human life with other health options, longevity research and things. Where does that play with you?
So my colleague, my colleague actually published a book. It's called Second Opinion: 8 Deadly Diseases. And it talks about the specific emotions that are related to certain organ dysfunctions. So like why people sometimes end up having heart attacks, even though they don't have any of the risk factors. It's a really, really good read, and really insightful into a different aspect on disease and some of the disease prevention. So, just kind of like in your situation, what you're just talking about, when I have somebody that comes to me, I really, I scan people really well. And sometimes like I'll order tests that there's no way